about AI. So it's kind of like uh, with any new technology that looks like it's really going to affect things, it makes us rather cautious, a little concerned, a little afraid, if I could say it that way. And I just want to invite us to be, I guess, what I'd call circumspect about the whole thing. So we'll see if it gets somewhere. And I've got, I think, something fun to show you in just a sec. So let's think about AI. So, and we're talking about the language model stuff, just like chat, GPT type things. And is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And so I uh, would offer some thoughts. One is that um, this AI on the good side, I think, does offer things like efficiency and automation. So we can automate things, we can be more efficient about things, just solving math problems. This morning I was meeting somebody and I was trying to figure out what percent a number would be of a bigger number or whatever. And I just blathered it in to to uh a chat thing and it says, yeah, here's the formula, here's how to do it. Like it read my mind or something through my blathering. Or I was trying to remember the Apple Echo system as an example. I didn't remember what they exactly called it. And I said, this is close, and it found it. So there's some efficiency and automation that come up with it in terms of the way it targets things compared to like Google searches. So it gives you a list of options. You click inside of that, you scroll through that, etc. It probably can really help with decision making if it can get you good information or show you a way to think about the pros and cons or where it may head or what may happen. Just now realized I don't have Jody in this picture. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. So there's Jody. And she's a big fan of me talking about I guess. Um, yeah, so there's definitely that piece of the game. There's a lot of things that'll come out with personalizing things, customer experience, some of these efficiencies will work that way. Um, there are things that it's able to do and learn that could affect um, things like even medical advancements, things that can figure out and process, or they can program it. Just it's just a more advanced version of what computers can do. And so in that regard, it does this machine learning cycle so it can gather information, more data, and kind of put together the options a little better. And there are probably ways in which it really gives us an advantage for online security, um, automating surveillance, detecting threats, and all the analyzing patterns, because that's what it's really made for. The challenge is the bad guys can use it too. And I guess that really drifts. We could be something like that. Don't know what quite happened. Um, Streaming on Zoom. Maybe there's a delay somewhere. Uh, I don't know. It just notified us. I hope this is online. Let me just check real quick to make sure. I'm sorry to do that sort of thing. It looks like, so far, it looks like we're frozen. Hmm. The internet's good, but we're frozen. Now we're not. Looks like it's back. All right, groovy. So what I was aiming at, just like within banking, there are jobs that get lost, but we'll get to that. So there's also bias, clearly, and discrimination in the systems because they've got to be trained on certain data. So if the data is biased, they'll be biased. If the trainer is, or the programmers are biased. They can put things in there that don't let you see it. Google had a big embarrassment about that sort of thing not too long ago. There are again privacy concerns on the other side because this way in which it can operate can gather so much data and piece it together on you, me, and whomever. There's a lack of human judgment in the game, and this kind of plays into the wild sci-fi stuff. If it becomes sentient, thinks itself, it decides, humankind's an infection on the planet or something. So there's always that fun stuff, but it doesn't quite have human like understanding, moral judgments, even humor. And part of that is actually related to, I think, the fact that there's an affective part of us that isn't strictly a logical game about preferences, what we like, and humans, and prioritizing loved ones over others, and just the way humans function. So there's a game and play. There also AI, I don't think has a way, probably ever, to be spontaneous the way humans can be. Improvisation, to make things up. It can't really make things up like we do. It has to do a mathematical calculation to get to something. So that's a piece of the challenge there. But this lack of human judgment is an issue, and the dependence and reliability, at least so far, is one problem. But it's more like as we depend more and more on it, we become less efficient. It's kind of like with the kids, we would require them to not use a calculator for probably till advanced math.
Right.
So I'm talking about, eighth grade-ish or so. So they did everything on paper, and all that training of the brain is going to be different than when you can punch in buttons. So there's some suspicion about that. So let me just say really quickly, if you think about it, all AI actually is a tool. So it's just a tool. That's what it is. And as a tool, whenever a new tool comes along, it invariably creates a problem with uh, job displacement. I was saying this to somebody, and I spontaneously made up the thing of, I said, look, like somebody invented the knife at one point, and when they invented the knife, then the meat terrors lost their job, the people that tore the meat off the bone, I guess. And so we went to a knife. And yet, what tends to happen with technology, it then creates new jobs, new industries, new opportunities. It was the same way with the internet. Things got lost, but many other things were birthed. And so it's sort of the nature of what humans do with tools. And I would say that'd be the easiest way to think for you and your kids, is that AI is going to replace some people, but it's not going to replace the people who know how to use AI. I mean, there's some indications that it may be starting to dead end anyway, that it just can't do all the exciting stuff that we thought it could, but that's unclear to me. Doesn't mean anything. It's just unclear to me. So it's if you learn to use AI properly, just like anything, it can be good. It's sort of neutral, at least to this point. It's how you use it. Like we're using the internet right now. Well, people can use it for bad stuff. Television came along. Was it good or bad? Well, it's good. Good stuff on it, bad and bad stuff on it. The printing press, we printed Bibles and we printed Mein Kampf. So looking at this thing a little more neutral, it might be neutral, but so neutral, but we'll think of it as it's neutral, but it's biased to not so good stuff. But I'm going to argue that it's really going to be a matter of how you use it and what you use it for. And I want to give you an example here. So and Jody will testify to this if I can make this work. I I said, look, here's one of the ways this can be pretty handy. It's just the camera. Yeah. So I let me get something to cover up with. Sorry. Uh an unpublished book. Uh-oh, what happened?
Well, goodness.
Camera went off. Technology is going crazy today. Did I turn it off? Did I punch something?
I have no idea.
Well, there we are for sure. And did the camera move or just come on disconnected? Maybe it popped up there. I apologize. You know, the Dark Lord definitely runs the internet.
Okay, it is not happy.
Yeah, twice. There's nothing we can do with this. I'll just have to explain it to you. Um,
Hmm.
Yep. I don't know what the trick is, gang. I use this camera all the time for some reason. It isn't happy so far. Let's see if it stays happy now. Okay, so I said I'm basically asking, I'll show you how I did this, to ask specifically, what's the importance of avoiding cuss words or curse words? And specifically what I was asking is I wanted to make a Bible study on this for fifth graders. So I'll show you the prompt I made up. And so it pretty instantly spit out something I could throw away or edit or use, and it worked like this. So the introduction, right? It's welcome to today's Bible study on why using curse words is a bad habit. In this lesson, we will explore the negative effects of using curse words and discover what the Bible teaches us about the power of our words. Let's begin. So this is for somebody who, wants to just lay it out. So we've got the first point is curse words and their impact, and it goes through negative consequences. It gives a scripture from Ephesians 4:29, uses the NIV. I don't personally, I'm not that thrilled with the NIV's translations on stuff. I like ESV's okay. New American Standard's good. I mean, all these are fine if you use them for what they are, but um, it throws out the NIV, and then it gives you two discussion questions. So, why do you think using curse words can be harmful to ourselves and others? And can you think of any example where using curse words might hurt someone's feelings or damage relationships? And it says the verse is, "Let no unwholesome words or talk come out of your mouth, but it's only good for building others up." So there you go already with a group of kids. You could imagine with a group of kids having a Sunday school or a class, or maybe in your home, just the family to go through, and we have discussion questions and we interact and we got a verse. Then it gives you another one, the power of our words. And it gives the tongue, it has the power of life and death. Those who love it will eat its fruit. And you might have to study a little of what that means, but it really still is that same point. There's a lot of influence that our words can have on what happens. That might be looking more at a king saying the word, die, live, but it's certainly broader than that. And then it'll have a discussion down there. How can our words impact the way we feel about ourselves and others? Can you share a time when someone's kind words made a positive difference for your life? You can imagine in a Bible study with kids, and I said fifth grade, and that could be, before, after, during group, but in that context, inviting them to think about their words and how they've experienced kind word. This is kind of a hint towards the golden rule in terms of how it would certainly work. Then it has a third section of choosing wholesome words. Now then it has a fill in the blank for you. So fill in the blanks. Instead of using curse words, I can choose to say, and this is an open-ended answer. I don't know what the answers are. Um, I could say something else, uh, euphemism, or I don't know, make a noise, whistle. When I feel angry, you find out what the group thinks. When I feel angry or frustrated, I can express my emotions using blank words, kinder words, or honest, or less dogmatic, less inflammatory, or um, softer words, whatever the conversation goes to. And then there's a prayer and reflection time. Take a moment to reflect, and then it has a conclusion. Thanks for joining today on the importance of how words affect, curse words, etc. So instantly, I mean, like in 3 seconds, it spit
Yes.
this out. Jody was there.
It's amazing how fast this thing is.
Yeah.
So,
So, and that doesn't mean I can't edit it. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean anything. But I can look at it and I can just tell you that's a pretty decent outline conversation for some fifth graders
mm-hmm.
for our home Bible study. And all I did was, and this was, I mean, I did it, didn't tweak it or anything. But my AI question was make a Bible study for fifth graders on why using curse words is a bad habit. Include a fill in the blank portion. That's what I gave it. And then it spit. Well, handed this out, right? So there would be an example of, at least in my mind, I'm treating it like a tool. It's not magic. It's not evil necessarily. I've had a lot, Jody will tell you, I have a lot of theological and logic debates with it. And it's great because it makes me work harder at trying to figure out how do I communicate it and set it up in a way it can't avoid. I mean, it's too nice and it's too this and it's trying to make everybody happy and it just drives me crazy. But um, it in that regard, I can have conversations when I can't find a person who really wants to talk to me about logical flaws in the Westminster Confession. I can't find many people want to do that. The people that know about it want to defend it and not think about it. So there's that. But hey, chat's my buddy. What thoughts do you have about AI? What else, you any of the conspiratorial stuff or anything of
Well,
great
I
words
don't
to
think
you?
it's going to become sentient. I don't think it's going to take over the human race. And, it's fun to watch a movie about that, maybe. Um, but I don't think that's going to happen ever, for lots of different reasons, technology reasons, God reasons, other things. But I do, it can be a good tool. So I think for parents and adults to become aware of it's out there. How can I use it? How do I teach my kids? My chair's not over you.
Oh,
Sorry, we have
asked you to.
I know, but
I was
I
trying to
came
wait
in
from
after you. Sorry, guys. Um, but for parents, educate yourself on what it is, and that's constantly changing. And how are you going to talk to your kids about it, and how are they going to be able to use it and not use it, and all of that good stuff needs to happen, just like as just good parenting. But I do think that there's ways, and Fred's really good about thinking about, okay, how can we use this for to make our lives a little bit easier, like that Bible study. Like, wow, that would be so helpful for so many people for home studies. Um, or to do, I'm teaching Sunday school. What do I teach? I just, like you said, and then you look at it, you either use it, you don't, you use part of it, you throw it away, you say this is and I do know you talk a little bit about the prompts, like you can change, like it can give you something, you go, oh, let me tweak that a little bit.
Yeah, you just keep asking, working on it. You're trying to give it really good hints about what you want. And so I just try to tell it what I want. And if it doesn't give it to me, I tell it something different. It's not exactly rocket science. It does quite matter that you do it right, but or right enough. But if you will think about it as being able to go back and try it again and go back and try it again, I think you're going to be, golden.
It can give you summaries of books. It can give you some analysis of poems and stories. And
Or right, I just had it write up a poem for one of the grandkids. I gave it the elements I wanted, and I wanted it in a certain style of adventure. It wasn't Dr. Seussy, but it was somebody. I said, doing the style of so and so. And so I made this fun little poem about he and his friends saving the day. And doing
Yeah,
all.
the 5-year-old gave Fred a story, and then they just played around with what
Well, or
AI.
just elements of a story. He just wanted, there's some things like,
His best
hey, my best
friend.
friend and this, and we saved the old people, and he just gave me some stuff, it
Well,
was
that was
good.
just a fun thing to do.
So what kind of questions are going on in your life? Kind of things you want to talk about? Maybe this, maybe more of this. But I do think if you look at it as a tool, technology always has its problems, and it's not always great. Sometimes technology leads us into a grumpy direction. Um,
Right.
yeah. So anyway, I'm just now seeing the uh
Feedback
yeah, the
from that
feedback.
we were
Uh
frozen.
yeah, I know. I do apologize about the live title. I couldn't find because I moved this time, I didn't set up a new Zoom time, and so I couldn't find it. So
Uh,
I just copped out. And we'll get it all straight. Trying to
sorry,
move to this
guys.
different time. Uh yeah, so Karen, friends of ours, has a someone says she has a great course on AI for
Oh,
homeschoolers. I
terrific.
mean, a lot of this stuff with kids is just like when computers came out, people would, and course is great, but what I've found with kids is when computers first came out, people would try to get their kids to learn programming and stuff. And I said, well, that's fine, but this stuff moves so fast. And quite frankly, especially not even programming, but just how to use a computer, kids will figure it out if they're interested. And if they get in there and start playing with the AI with some supervision, I hope, um, there's some pretty magic, interesting, powerful things that they'll figure out. So that's great. Um, so, all right. So we have a question. I'll ask the question today, even though I think the video I watched yesterday answered it. Great.
Well, that's good.
So,
We might can tweak some things
yeah.
if you want to put it out there.
Well, I'd seen the comment and I liked it, but it was another video we've done.
Good.
So I may have a different answer now. So whatever that question is, that'd be great. But yeah, so but do check out Karen Rodriguez on Our House.
Yes, she has
Um,
so much good
yep, for
information.
this course on Our House, AI for homeschoolers is all I was trying to say.
Great.
So the question, some delay in the system, maybe it'll show up, or can I not see it? Anyway, as we're waiting on the question, or you got any other questions, lay them out there. I know that we're facing summer. Summer has some advantages, especially in my experience with um, sort of natural science and biology and physics, because we're swimming, we're jumping, we're catching lizards, we're doing stuff. So there's always fun things to learn. I mean, I remember as a kid, I didn't in my neighborhood we didn't have as many people to play with. So I did more things alone than I probably would have liked to. Is that funny to you?
I'm just thinking about when us growing up and not having to be supervised quite so
Yeah,
carefully.
we didn't have
It's
that.
just
So but in my neighborhood was more spread out, bigger properties, so it was hard to find. Probably wasn't a tighter neighborhood like we've been in when I was younger. But I can remember sitting by an ant. um,
Mound Hill.
and that's what throws me off. So this red ant in Alabama, it was actually flat, and there was a hole it goes into, so it wasn't a mound like fire ants or something like that. So these red ants, whatever they were, um, had a you know ant hill, um, and or ant cave, and I would watch. I just sit there and watch, and I watch things they bring in. These weren't ones that would sting you. Watch what things would bring in, how they do it, how they work together, how they moved about, how to communicate, and suddenly stuff would come up. And then occasionally I might, in my cruelness, get a bug and put it near it and watch them battle and fight and all. But I don't know what all the lessons were, but just that intense, just watching was incredibly educational to me. in terms of what my brain was trying to think about with how they work. That's mostly what I want to do, how they work. So here's the question. Um, so I'm saying the summer, let me finish up. The summer and this outside stuff is still a great way to learn. And even debriefing if you have dinner together or something like that. Uh, what happened and what you learned, just even those phrases. Or what could you learn? What happened? What could you learn? What's the ants? What happened? Uh, they ganged up on a grasshopper. And what happened? They took it down into the hole, tore it up, and took it in the hole. And what could we learn from that? Don't be a grasshopper. Okay, let's stretch a little more. Um, wow, small things in combination, a bunch of them together can accomplish something bigger than any one of them can accomplish. That's pretty interesting. Uh, all right, so you get the idea. So the question is, my 7-year-old just started Saxon 5-4 a couple of weeks ago. He finished Alpha Phonics and memorized his math facts at the same time. So he finished 7-year-old. He's finished with Alpha Phonics and his math, but he doesn't seem to understand what he's reading. Good, that's what I was getting to. He reads the lesson. He couldn't even answer any questions in lesson practice. How do I proceed? Just trying again today. The main point I got was asking AI what, oh, sorry, that's a different thing. Sorry, I'll save that one. So so he's gone through Alpha Phonics, and I guess he understands it. Um, what I don't know what Jody's thinking. She has a little more background in all this than me. But so what I'm actually thinking that there's some gap in here about he should be reading it out loud and then be able to explain it to you. Like just like narration where you would read out loud to him and get him to explain it back. You might even start there. I mean, if there's something seriously neurologically going on, that could be a problem. But it's, memorizing what we notice a lot of times kids will memorize things, but they don't understand it. I mean, honestly, when you understand something, you rarely have to memorize it. But if you turn it into pure memory, there's not a good way to mechanically make that work. He actually just needs to read because the goal of phonics is reading, not to know the phonics.
Right.
What are
No,
you thinking?
well, you said it. I wouldn't panic. He's 7 years old. You put him in a little advanced math, which is what we did too, also. But I think, yeah, just experiment with some things. Either I like both those things you mentioned. What I was thinking is have him read it out loud to you and y'all talk about it. Yes, the goal will be for him to do it himself, but it doesn't have to start there. So have him read it out loud. Okay, what do you understand what that meant? What do you think? Show me. What is it? What did it say? And just go bit by bit. And I like that better than you reading it to him, but you could do that also and just say, okay, now what'd you hear me read? But we're working on him being able to read it himself and work on it. But go ahead and, I mean, spend some time doing it that way, just in bits and pieces, give him some confidence, and I bet he'll get there pretty quickly. And if not, I would just say, actually, just wait 6 months, wait, just,
And that could indeed be a piece of it. And I was thinking reading to him just maybe different things just to
oh,
practice
sure.
listening and comprehension because reading, it's important to define reading as comprehension. So just reading the letters, there are lots of things I can read. I can take this book and I can read backwards. Uh, there already are you then future the in anything want don't you if course of want you future the to lead will present the think you then happy are you believe I. So I can't say I really understand much of what I just read. It wasn't that complicated, but it also wasn't in order and it wasn't how the English language that I know and love works. So the nature of that issue of comprehension is the issue of reading. Again, phonics, learning phonics is really just a tool. Uh, Not everyone has to learn phonics to be able to read. They can just learn to read. I did. I learned phonics after I learned to read. Um, but it's a matter of your brain starting to put together with these language centers how the game works. But it's, even when I see he reads the lesson, he couldn't even answer any questions in the lesson practice. How do I proceed? Just try again today. Yeah, always try again. But try something different. So if he's not reading well, am I saying it right? Is
Yeah.
it a son? Um, if he's
Well,
not,
actually, 7 year old. I don't know.
it may be a she.
No, he's
No, he's
reading.
reading.
Sorry.
So if he is not reading well, that would be one explanation of why he can't answer questions, but he also is not reading the questions well. So even asking him, you read the question and see what he responds, you're going to be able to tell a little bit of what's going on. But by and large, having them read out loud and then explain to you what they just read and what it means pretty much lets you catch what's going on.
Like for instance, not in any book, practice it's
Could
narration.
be any
Yeah,
book. Absolutely. It doesn't
not
have to be a
the
test or
math. Yeah.
whatever. It could just be anything and just ask, get them if they're reading out loud, um, then you need to ask, and what did that mean? What's another way to say it? Or what's he doing? Or what happened?
Or can you picture that?
Yeah.
Also as a way to go with it. Picture that in your head like a movie, and that can help with the
Yep.
comprehension.
And I don't know what we said in the other video.
Well, I think is with math in general, like for kids that have been doing math, not the very, this is a kid that's just starting out
Mm,
and first book and everything, but in kids that are, have been doing math, and have missed a lot of problems.
yeah.
Have them
Yeah.
do the same
Yeah.
lesson.
And what I'm really, it could be, and it might be to read something over till you get it. But when you say he reads well, but he doesn't seem to understand what he's reading when he reads the lesson, he couldn't even answer the question. So is this the math lesson?
Yes, this is a Saxon math
Yeah.
lesson.
So if he reads well, so I was separating those too much. So if he reads well, um, uh, you might want him to read aloud to you and explain to you what it's teaching to see, because maybe he reads well, but the books are different than like the math books. Maybe it's a different
Yeah.
reading level. And honestly, a 7-year-old and 5'4".
It could be too much of a jump, but it might not be.
Right.
I would try what we're saying and then I would wait. And
Several of our kids are really good with math, but one in particular just had a math chip and made a perfect SAT score and majored in math in college and blah blah blah. But he did not start 5'4" until he was 8.
I believe
I'm
that's
positive of
correct.
that. Two older ones didn't start till 10, but they probably started in 6'5" or whatever. Can't remember exactly.
No,
Did they start in 5'4"?
Yeah.
So they didn't start till 10 and they did great.
Yeah.
Um, so it may just simply be a little early, or it may be at this stage he needs you to read with him. So you read it, he reads it, y'all discuss it, and then he might be able to do the math fine. But you got plenty of time. Don't get in too much of a hurry.
Yeah.
Hope that helps. So the main point I got was asking AI what questions it should ask you one at a time and wait for my answer. This covers ground you wouldn't know that you didn't know. What's that mean?
You're asking it to say, what should I be asking you? Or what should I ask you if I want to know such and such?
You might can. You might ask how to ask it. It doesn't particularly know. So it doesn't know, it's just responding to language. But when you ask something of it, and it gives you an answer, if it's on course or off course, you can ask again. So sometimes it does that. And all you want to, it's more like a moth circling on a candle, you're just trying to get closer as it goes. So and they're probably things we hadn't figured out. You can ask it to do a chart or a thing or other information or definitions or logic or explain something. It could be literally anything. Um, so, and questions can be complicated, but you want to make it easy enough on it. You know, if you want a definition, it's good to say definition. What does this mean is okay. But if you want a strict definition, if you want that word used, you could say use this word in 10 sentences, you know. So, uh, even, you know, if the kids are bored, you could say, hey, uh, what are 10 things that bored children can do in the summer in this town uh, that would also be educationally helpful? You could do all that, and it'll spit out 10 things they can go do.
They were using it to decide on curriculum.
Oh, how did I miss that?
No, it came right here. You just were, it's while you were talking, it popped up lower.
Oh. So, yeah, so when deciding on a curriculum, one guy was asking AI what questions it should ask you one at a time. Wait for my answer. This covers grounds you wouldn't know that you didn't know. Yeah, I'm still
Let's
not
get more detail.
I'm not grasping what the aim is. Do you, I mean, it's about a curriculum. Just say it different for me. Being like, huh,
It'll be interesting.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I've never experienced this, so it'll come back.
What's happening?
I'm sure you'll see us in a moment now, but some reason Zoom has shut down twice. So
I think it,
maybe something nationally with them.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this will come back at some delay.
I got it.
Yeah, so I was saying is, um, how, you know, to use this, you can use it on anything, gaps in curriculum, goals, how to evaluate something. You can literally just say, hey, give me 5 things that are good about AI and 5 things that are bad. So, all right. So the question becomes, and it'll spit those out. E.g., let's see, for example, ask me what I need to put into science curriculum for a 20-year-old. Exactly. But even that, so that's a great example. So what do I need to put into a science curriculum for a 20-year-old? All right, that'd be fine. Or we let's back, well, 20 is fine, but that's sort of college-ish or older. But the question is, what kind of 20-year-old? So it could be, um, is it someone who wants to go into STEM? It's somebody studying anthropology. Is it a 20-year-old person that's getting ready for the GED? It could be anything. You just
10-year-old.
Oh,
Just correct.
10-year-old is helpful. Good. So even there, a 10-year-old homeschool, a 10-year-old interested in becoming an engineer, it could be a 10-year-old you could use the word appropriate, um, and ask me one by one and wait for my answer before giving a response. I'm not sure what that means. Do you, Jody?
No, it sounds like she asked, AI spits out something and then she responds, and then AI spits out something and then she responds.
So let's just see if I can share my screen.
And then the other person about the 7-year-old.
I'll come back to that. So we are.
I said, I don't want to.
Well, you have all kinds of things to worry about. So if I share my screen, um, hopefully that's sharing, and go up here to AI, and let's just watch it happen, see what happens. So I go to, won't worry about any of these. if I go here and I put in um, I need recommendations for my 10-year-old for a science curriculum as a homeschooler. Let's just try that. Okay.
Yeah.
I have more thoughts I'd put in there, but that's the start. So creating a well-rounded and engaged science curriculum for a 10-year-old homeschooler can be very rewarding. Some recommendations. Thanks. So here's a structured program. There's mystery science. So that description of it provides easy to follow lessons, engaging videos, whatever. And there's a website for it that gives you an option. Real science, detailed lesson plans, etc. Descriptions, good and beautiful science, book shark science, hands-on activities, science lab, everything kids, supplemental resources. National Geographic, Bill Nye, if you like him, Science News, Khan Academy, K-12, Quico, Tintercrate, Thomas, blah, blah, blah. So instantly you've gotten loaded with options that are out there and where you might go to find them. What's your first thought when you see all that?
Yeah, that's fantastic. If you're looking to buy a curriculum, if I had the thought she was trying to plan her own, but
Right.
so then you changed the question a
Well,
little bit.
but even this,
But that's
some of the
helpful.
planning on, you still use Khan Academy.
Yeah, some of those are going to be free.
But let's say you see that and go, yeah, that I wasn't really wanting to know. I want to build, say, well, I want to build my own curriculum. So I guess I'm really asking what things should a 10-year-old know once they've completed a science curriculum for that year. Let's say it that way. Okay. So now I'm asking a little different. I'm going, wait, okay, Creed allows tailor content to their interests. So then it lays out life science, earth science, physical science, scientific inquiry and method, and then it'll give you some suggested topics and activities. So that indeed could be very close to what you're looking for if you want to teach them life science, earth science, physical science, so the additional skills. I think scientific method be smart, measurement tools, at least exposure to it, safety, environmental, that's its own challenge. There's some books, etc. And I said, and then I could say, could you give me 5 at-home activities to teach did they call it scientific method? Is that what they call it?
I believe so.
It's a matter of measurement tools, wherever it was. Scientific inquiry and method. Teach the scientific method to a 10-year-old. I'll quit doing this, but this obviously gives you ideas. So you can do a plant growth experiment, how variables affected. I did that. I hooked up plants to car battery for 6 hours a day. Long story, but just see what electricity did. So it gives you examples, a homemade lava lamp. You can do a baking soda and vinegar reaction. It's still writing stuff. And it's showing how it all relates. Paper towel absorbency test. I don't know why it's going so slow. Maybe because I'm not paying for it. Human parachute. So you get the idea. It goes on and on. Yeah. And if you want all those, I can copy them, I guess, and send them. So stop
Yeah.
share.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's and again, you don't have to use it. You don't have to agree with it. I don't agree with myself about a lot of things, so I'm used to that. And I certainly don't agree with it. Especially when I'm doing logic stuff, I'm having to show it. You're not making sense with some of this. And it's not making sense because it's gotten information from a lot of people out there that don't make sense. So you're getting this combination, kind of pitch. This is how they think about it and their nuances and blah blah blah. And it's like, no, some things are just wrong. Some things are nuanced, but it definitely decidedly varies. Okay, so the main point I got was, sorry, let's go back. If I do end up putting Saxon on hold, what should he do in the meantime for math? So we're going to bounce back.
Mhm.
Um, um, yeah, so I don't know that he has to do anything for math besides normal stuff, that happens when you count stuff, put together puzzles. I mean, some things, puzzles are related to math
Yeah.
minds, but the studies out there on kids and math, America, at least the last studies I looked at, America is about in the top, one, two, or three of math for kids up to like third grade, or maybe even through elementary, maybe through six, something like that, wherever middle school. I don't know how the game works on fifth. But they're good, up to the top there. But by the time they graduate high school, we're in the lower 20th, 25th or something. And the reason is there's not a correlation between early math learning and later math learning like you want to think there is. Um, because it feels that way. If they learn to read and they read more, they're going to get better. But it's sort of a mental readiness. I mean, a physiological brain readiness. Even concrete stuff like essays. I don't recommend kids start writing essays till they're 14ish. Their brains going to be more developed for abstractions. They're probably going to be better at having some opinions, etc. So, is this frozen again?
I don't know.
Maybe I froze it. Well, I can repost the thing if this doesn't work.
Mm.
So I'm
But
not.
yeah, I would say different kind, not just jigsaw puzzles, but other kinds of logic type little puzzles that require you to fill in the missing pieces. And just there's other things that are math like that are really work on their brain, excuse me, brain.
Exactly. Yeah, so there it's a readiness thing, so I don't know that I'd worry about it. Let me read the rest of this real quick. So he reads lessons. I was asking let's see. All right, he's already doing oral narration after reading time. Good. So that's a good start. If he doesn't, if he still needs help, I'll pause Saxon for a few months. I think that would be great. I just wouldn't worry about it.
Mhm.
If I do end up, what do I need to worry about? And in the meantime, I wouldn't worry. It's going to be great. Like I said, our mathematician didn't start any of this till he was 8 years old. So, and some it's later. I'd say similar to writing on their own. To get some kids that are, by the time they're in the third grade or so, what's that, 10, 7, 8, 9, 9-ish, are pretty good, can really write. Others, not so much. And it's not a right or wrong thing. It's just sort of a readiness game, but they can do what they can do and then they can do a little more. But I just wouldn't put that much pressure on myself. You've got time, kind of chillax, have a glorious summer and watch, just work on having fun with reading and drawing. And if you want to stack and count things and all, that's all
Yeah,
groovy.
there's
Yeah,
a lot of different things out there.
exactly. Uh, so yeah, then anyway, I think the whole AI thing, I think that really kind of nailed it out, explained it, I hope. Sorry for these interruptions. I have no idea what has happened exactly. Any other questions? Uh, yeah, you should be relieved to hear it because I remember I was the same way when I talked to Art Robinson one time that I was stressed about the kids and he just said, just do the math. if they do it on a regular basis, especially summers, they're going to be great. You don't have to be in that much of a hurry. There's a famous book that came out forever ago called The Hurried Child by Elkind. You remember that
Hmm.
book? Isn't that his name? Elkind?
Sounds right.
Elkind, maybe Andy. Um, and it talked about how we can mess with kids by hurrying them up. We can do the other ditch too and be so lazy and no hurry and like lackadaisical that they don't learn anything. But either way, it's tough. And just relax, give it some time. You do want kids to find some enjoyment in their learning and not make it traumatic. So, and most enjoyment comes with either like reading could be a good story, but even learning to master the skill or conquering something, a math problem, whatever, there's a little dopamine hit there that I learned it, I did it, especially if they hang in there with it. And so you're always wanting to just get them to go a little better than where they are. Not great leaps, just are they doing better than they were? And that can be moral, and that can be academic, and that can be in uh, throwing a ball, all those things. And I will say, in our experience, uh, some of our kids, especially good at math, really could not figure out how to throw a ball. I don't know why, but I know it's true. So whatever that is. Anyway, this was fun. Hope it was helpful. And we'll keep doing this Friday mornings at 9. Might rename it, but I think this time we'll give it a go and see how that works. Anyway, hope you all have an incredible weekend. And if you would, subscribe if you're not subscribed, or pass it along, share it with people.